the rapture of the church. I think the rapture of the church is this mechanism that solves all of our problems of the New World Order and all the coming disasters. All the problems of the world is solved with this carrot that stands out there as the proverbial prize. You know, Jesus has been erased, and in his place is this concept, the rapture. I mean, the rapture is the salvation of the modern church today. Not Jesus, but the rapture. I mean, we might as well sing songs, and I know there are songs out there about the rapture. It's unbiblical. The rapture, the concept of the rapture is an unbiblical concept. It cannot be substantiated if you do in-depth study on this subject matter. But we're told the rapture is going to happen. So often we believe it. You know, it's that just tell the lie over and over and over again, and then all of a sudden it just becomes reality. The lie shifts over from falsehood into truth because you said it long enough. Where was the rapture for the saints? Where was the rapture for the great men throughout history? And women. Where was the rapture for them? And where was the rapture for the Jews and the Christians? Where's the rapture for all the death toll throughout history? There is no rapture. The Bible talks about Enoch as people who espouse the rapture as a real biblical event that's going to happen. They cite Enoch, and they say Enoch was taken up. He never experienced death. He was taken away. Well, Enoch was a prophet of God. Enoch was a holy man. I mean, and his experience was very unique. Unlike the majority of Christians here on planet Earth, I think we're more slothful, sinful, lustful, prideful, materialistic. I mean, we are so unprepared for the rapture. If God raptures the Christian church today, I'd be so surprised. It'd be so unbiblical. It would be so unlike God and his standards of holiness. If you're honest with yourself, do you think you're ready for the rapture? Do you think you're ready? Do you think God would just snap you out of here in your sinful state, in my sinful state? We're not ready for the church. Have you trimmed your wicks? Have you filled your oil lamps? Are you the wise virgins? Are you ready for the rapture? If you're honest with yourself, really honest, you look in the mirror and you say, am I all cleaned up? Am I all holy? Am I like Enoch? If you're honest with yourself, you'll know that you're not ready for a rapture. Thank God. God is going to allow persecution to fall, and that's what I'm seeing. The reality is I'm seeing persecution falling on the church. But the ministers have been trained, and they're training their flock to trust in the rapture to carry you away from all your problems. So when the New World Order, when the Gestapo is knocking on your door, or kicking it in, and 3 o'clock in the morning they're loading you up on a flatbed truck to take you out to a FEMA camp, you're going to be asking yourself, where's the rapture? How come I didn't prepare? How come I didn't fight? When food is more than, when a loaf of bread is $1,000, and you're still here and the rapture hasn't occurred, you're going to be asking yourself, why didn't I store up food? When foreign armies are taking over small and taking over the country, you're going to ask yourself, why didn't I buy a gun? Why didn't I join the resistance? Because you were relying on the rapture. It's the rapture of the Christian church that's going to solve it all. You don't have to fight the New World Order. You don't have to fight tyranny. You don't have to fight. No, you don't have to prepare for famine. You don't have to prepare to protect your wife and your children, because the rapture is going to take you away. You don't have to worry about the mark of the beast and resist that or protest that. You don't have to protest anything, because the rapture is going to take care of it for you. You rest on your rapture. You're resting on your rapture. Your precious rapture is going to just solve it all for you. You're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to make a choice. Either you're going to follow Jesus and, really get to know Jesus through your suffering. Remember those scriptures? If you suffer with me, you'll reign with me. If you want to use, people who believe that the rapture is going to happen, they use Noah and the ark as a means of proof texting the concept of the rapture. You have to understand, the ark took 100 years to build. It took preparation. What kind of preparation are you doing if you believe in the rapture? What kind of ark are you building? Your hope lies in the rapture. You're not building anything. You're not using the skills that God gave you. You're just relying on a fantasy. You're relying on a fantasy. You're relying on a lie. And when the rapture doesn't happen, there is going to be a great falling away. When real persecution hits the American Christian church, or the Christian church worldwide, and rapture doesn't happen, what do you think's going to happen? When rapture doesn't happen, what do you think's going to happen? People are going to be mad. They're going to be very, very upset. They're going to be mad at their preachers and their pastors and their priests. They're going to be mad at the Pope. And when the congregation, when the congregations across the world find out that their precious rapture didn't happen, they're going to storm these churches. They're going to take their ministers out, and they're going to probably beat the ministers or stone the ministers or tie them up, hang them from trees, because they preached the rapture, and the rapture never happened in the worst time of all. The rapture hasn't happened, and it certainly should have happened for the Jews and for the Christians that were persecuted in the time of Hitler. What about Pol Pot? What about the millions of people that have been eliminated through genocide, through ethnic cleansing? Where was the rapture for them? And biblically, where was the rapture for any of the great apostles of antiquity, of biblical history? There was no rapture for any of the apostles. Sure, God protected them in the sense that preserved their lives, but they were beaten. They were imprisoned. I mean, there was real struggle. Look at Paul the Apostle. There probably wasn't an inch of unscarred tissue on that man's body by the time he was beheaded. There was no rapture for Paul the Apostle. There was only one minister or one apostle that wasn't, killed, and that was John, who was exiled on the island of Patmos. So, and he wrote the book of Revelations. So, think about it, people. Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, they were thrown into a fiery furnace. That was not rapture. They were thrown into the fire. Now, can God preserve them through this suffering? Absolutely. That's what this story is all about. God preserving us through the fiery flames of affliction. But God doesn't, zap us out and take us to heaven before we suffer, before we're tested and tried, before we're refined in that furnace of fire, before we're put through the rigors. It's persecution that makes this church stronger, and that's what's happened over and over and over throughout history. Persecution makes the church stronger. It's like, and it makes this church grow as well. You persecute the Christian church, it's like cutting up a starfish. You'll just make more starfish. Until next time, keep your eyes on Jesus Christ. He's your Savior, not the rapture.